Sallyport, do you have someone there?
Yeah, we have Mr. Kingsley.
Okay, all right. Give me just a moment. Judge is just now signing in, but we'll probably take him up first.
All right.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning, Judge.
Ms. Pam, I'm assuming we're ready on Mr. Kingsley's case.
Whenever you are, Judge.
All right, Ms. Ridgway, are you ready also?
Yes, Your Honor, I am.
Okay. We are on the record in state of Kansas on behalf of the Secretary for the Department of Social and Rehabilitation Services and Cecil Kingsley. The case number is Butler County 10 DM 306. The DCF appears by and through Ms. Ridgway. Mr. Kingsley appears in person and pro se. We were most recently here on June 16 of this year, at which time the parties appear as they do again today. The matter was continued from that date to today's date. I note that the immediately preceding hearing was one where there was indication that an income withholding order was paying bi-weekly, and that there has been at least some progress in the case at the time of the last hearing so as to warrant continuance to today's date. Ms. Ridgway, can you update the court from the perspective of DCF?
Yes, Your Honor. I think the best way to put it is, wow, we have a problem.
Okay.
Mr. Kingsley was paying by income withholding order. However, on July 27th, DCF received an income tax refund from the IRS in the amount of $35,929. That paid his case in full and resulted in the termination of the income withholding order. However, when I saw that payment, I became extremely suspicious because Mr. Kingsley has no history of employment that would lead me to believe that a $35,000 income tax refund was warranted. I did some urgent, and Your Honor, I discovered this on Wednesday as I was preparing for court. I did some urgent checking to make sure, that my computer didn't have a problem. And I have verified with the IRS that they did actually send us that money. But as soon as they find out that they probably made a big mistake, they are going to demand that money back. Unfortunately, my system, once we receive a payment, we have to distribute it within 24 hours. So that money has already gone to the mother. I have tried to reach out to the mother to discuss my concerns, and I've not been able to make contact with her. I spoke with her for about 10 seconds and the call was disconnected. I'm unable, I've called her dozens of times since then, and I get her voicemail is full and not accepting messages. I have emailed her. I've had other state employees try to call her, thinking maybe she's avoiding my phone number. So maybe using a different phone number might result in contact, and that has been unsuccessful. Now, I spoke briefly with Mr. Kingsley about this matter on Wednesday. I did not have a lot of time to speak with him, and I told him we could discuss this further at today's hearing.
Okay.
But what I can say right now, Your Honor, is that I have no debt to collect because it appears to have been paid in full. But unless Mr. Kingsley can explain why he was entitled to almost $36,000 from the IRS, my debt is actually not paid in full.
All right. Mr. Kingsley, is there anything, sir, that you would like to offer?
Like I said, I did something on Facebook, and they'll say, I talked to some lady on the phone. They said it was a real check. So they supposed to send it out to the mail and everything like that. I didn't get the check. That's all I know. I did stuff on Facebook and that's all I did.
Okay.
And I had to take the picture of my ID. I had to take a picture of me and everything to get that check. So they said that check is a real check. That's what they told me on it. Yeah, they told me on the, right, did the video chat that it was a real check.
Right.
That's what they told me on the, yes,
Mr. Kingsley, who is they?
IRS people. Some lady, I don't know who it was on the video chat. They did a video chat with me. They said, and I asked them, I said, "It's a check real?" They said, "Yes, it's a real check."
And do you know how you contacted them?
It's on Facebook.
And did you provide them with pay stubs or any?
No, all they
proof
did, they told me to take a picture of my ID, my social security card, and take a picture of me, and that's what they did. That's all they did. Then I had to do an ID, stuff about ID stuff, and take a picture, and they went through, and they called me on ID, did a video chat with me, and they said it was a real check. That's all I know.
Well, it appears to be real money from the IRS. The problem is, what right did you have to get that money?
I don't know. They didn't say nothing. It says like I guess it's like a loan or something, or credit or something. That's all they said.
Did you tell them that you were an employer?
They didn't ask me. They didn't ask.
But they told you it was a loan.
It was like something like that. Yeah. When I've been texting, I got the number, but I've been texting them on it, and they haven't been texting me back.
I don't know if this could possibly have anything to do with these circumstances, but I know Mr. Kingsley has been, over the long arc of this case, at least sporadically employed with W-2 employers. And I don't know all the intricacies, but I wonder if there was any conclusion that he was entitled to earned income credits for some period of years, which could manifest itself in a number similar to the one you're explaining. I mean, I have no idea if that's the logic, and I don't know, Mr. Kingsley, I'm not implying that the people you were interacting with were anything other than what you believe them to be, representatives of the IRS. But from the perspective of the court, the idea of, holding up identification paperwork and social security cards on a Facebook video, it just doesn't sound what I would have expected anyway, in terms of taxpayer interaction with the IRS. So I would just encourage you to use due caution in interacting and releasing any of your important personal data. I don't know, Ms. Ridgway, if this makes sense to you, and I'm happy to hear from each of you as to a potential way forward. But what I would like to do would be to continue this case for 60 days in hopes that if there is some fly in the ointment, so to speak, in terms of the issuance of that check, that might come to light in the meantime. And if for whatever reason it is indeed exactly issued as it was supposed to have been, then I think that changes the character of what we do going forward if the case is indeed paid in full at that point. Does that make sense from DCF's perspective, or did you have some other suggestions or concerns?
No, Your Honor, that does make sense. My big concern, well, first of all, this money did come from the IRS.
Mm-hmm.
So I have verified that. I don't know, we received Mr. Kingsley's income tax refund in 2020, when we also received his COVID stimulus money. But I believe that is the only time we have ever received an income tax refund for him. The payment history I show for the last 11 years while he may have had some actual employment, it hasn't been significant enough really for Mr. Kingsley. When was the last time you filed your tax return?
Oh, I haven't done it lately.
And I know you did in 2020 because we
Yeah,
got.
that's the last that year I did it.
And
I
did,
haven't had a job at that time.
yeah, did you do it yearly before then?
Nope.
Okay. And do you have children in your home? Have you for the
Nope.
last 12 years?
Nope.
So, Your Honor, I'm not a tax attorney, but I believe earned income credit requires children in the home.
Right.
If this is a loan, if Mr. Kingsley, led the IRS to believe that he was a small businessman, I know those loans are available.
I think that's what my lady did for me. I don't know what she done. She helped me
Okay.
to do it.
Well, in which case, that's if that's the situation, then now Mr. Kingsley owes the IRS money rather than owing child support money. My concern is that the IRS is going to change its mind. And since DCF has already distributed the money, the state of Kansas has to repay the IRS out of the taxpayers' coffers. So I have some people with contacts directly with the feds. I think a 60-day continuance would give us the opportunity to verify whether or not this is legitimate. And if it is, then yay, Mr. Kingsley's done with us.
Okay.
If it isn't, then we have a whole nother set of issues. And please understand, Mr. Kingsley, I'm not saying you tried to do something intentionally wrong. I think you intended to do the right thing with all of this. It's just that I worry that there may have been some big misunderstanding.
Okay.
All right. Well, with all of that in mind, I'm going to look ahead here to October 20, 2023 at actually, Ms. Ridgway, this would move it a little further out, but would you have any objection if the court were to use November 3 instead of October 20?
No, that would be fine.
All right. We'll do that then. November 3, 2023 at 9 o'clock. And Mr. Kingsley, we'll look forward to seeing you back here then. Thank you, sir.
All right.
Mr. Kingsley, if you could maybe call the IRS and ask them for copies of documents.
I've been texting them. Don't get me wrong. I got the number. I've been texting them and see what's going on. And I texted them the other day, find out if the check was real, and they haven't texted me back yet.
Okay, well, it was real. It just came to me instead of you.
That's because I've been texting them, hon. Like I said, I texted them the other day. Yeah, I said it's the check's real. They haven't texted me back yet.
Okay, well, if you could maybe even just call the IRS, I'm sure there's a toll-free number somewhere to call and ask them to send you, to mail you copies of the paperwork. And then if you could provide that to me, that'd be fabulous.
I'll see what I can do. I have to go to work, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kingsley.
I'm trying.
Thank
That's all
you.
with the Sally report.
All right. Thank you so much.
Judge, in my 28 years as a child support attorney, never.
Yeah, I hadn't heard of anything like that either. That was unusual, and I'll be interested to see.
And I'll be
happen.
honest with you, I'm thinking, wow, I might just happen to have a small business running out of the basement of my house.
No, I recognize. Wow, that's an interesting situation. So.